This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Joining us today is Dr. Valentino Paravicini, the Chief Scientific Officer at Oxford Cannabinoid Technology, where today we're doing a special feature on their Program 2 that's targeting trigeminalgia neurology. I think I said that correctly.
Yes, you did.
We did do a special feature on Program 1, Valentino, didn't we, where we really did go into depth on the endocannabinoid system. So if people want a bit more information on that and how it interacts with the body, then please listen to Program 1. But on this one, we're going to, because it's based on the same system, we're going to just really focus on the actual development of the treatment that you are working on. So, start us off. Introduce the program to us, Valentino. What's the main objective?
Yeah, thank you, Mark, and nice to talk to you again, and thank you for giving me this other opportunity. The Program 2, as we suggest the name, of course, is quite different from Program 1, is using a different approach, but the end goal is, if you want, the big end goal is the same, to really address the distress and the pain of that patients are still experiencing in diseases that people think or thought they already have a treatment. And that's not the case. And for trigeminal neuralgia, it's particularly even more so true. There's a lot of drug that are using trigeminal neuralgia. They work in a completely different way. So they do not target the cannabinoids, the endocannabinoid system. But the reality is that they fall short. They're not on par, and they cause a lot of side effects that in time will actually create more problem than not. And the patient just do not completely ameliorate. And there is, we talk to patient association, we talk to patients, they're really craving for something that work. And that's why we decided to focus on trigeminal neuralgia in the first place. With this particular program, that is unlike the first one, where it's focusing on one molecule, is completely new. In this case, we use two molecules, and we use phytocannabinoids. So phytocannabinoids are actually the chemicals, the molecule, if you want to call it, that are present in the plant, cannabis plant. There are many of them. There are many molecules. There are hundreds of phytocannabinoids, and the two main ones are THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, and CBD cannabidiol. These two molecules are important. They work in a completely different way. They target different receptors, and I use plural because it's not just one single receptors, but that has a beneficial effect. And this beneficial effect has been shown by thousands of years of popular medicine. And there is a reason why this popular medicine is sticked with all these years, but also more importantly, in a large number of preclinical data, meaning if you want lab-based data, but also importantly in clinic as well, where the compound has been used for certain conditions. It's actually approved for certain conditions, some part of the world, but it also saw beneficial effect in other indications. For example, trigeminal neuralgia. Because of this data, we decided to look into this, to take advantage of the beneficial effect of both compounds and their combination. And again, differently from Program 1, rather than going for the oral route of administration, so you basically ingest your drug. In this case, we go with the inhalation. And the question is why? Why do you completely different? Because the indication we go for is different. So trigeminal neuralgia, I don't know if people are familiar with this, I'm going to briefly describe it. It's basically caused by an issue, if you want to call it, with the trigeminal nerve, hence the name trigeminal neuralgia. This is the nerve that's innervates basically the head, the periorbital area, so around the eyes, and also the jaw and part of the neck. When there is an issue with this nerve, and there might be different reasons for it, although mostly is actually a compression of the nerve inside the brain, effectively. This nerve starts firing for no reason whatsoever. So again, working as normal distress signal when it needs. In this case, it's it basically operates and works when it's actually not needed. And the pain is excruciating. Can be described in different way. I never experienced it, but it can be stabbing pain or electroshock pain. In some cases, it has different type, but it's unbearable. And some people have really not only physical pain, but also psychological distress coming from the continuous presence of this pain. That I say continuous, it really short-lived, but it keep occurring. Sometimes more frequently in certain situations than others. But it's totally unexpected. It came out almost totally unexpected. And that was distressing. You lived your life almost waiting for the pain to occur.
And there is no understanding of why it's happening.
No, there is understanding why it's happening. It's basically the nerve gets, the only way to describe it properly is probably generally stressed, meaning it's in a situation where rather than being working when it's needed, it keeps firing. It keeps giving you the sensation of pain, even if there's no reason for that sensation to be there. What I'm saying is that if you, for example, you take a needle and you stick it in your jaw, then of course it's a danger signal. The nerve should be there for that reason. It tells you, hold on 1 second, there's something that doesn't work. So you react to it. In this case, it's almost like having a needle in your face all the time, more than one, for no reason whatsoever. Without the needle be there. And in this case, it's caused by the nerve not working properly. There are different reasons for that. The one is, for example, some degenerative disease like multiple sclerosis are associated with trigeminal neuralgia. Again, the nerve is damaged or stressed, if you want. In some cases, that could be caused by the presence of a tumor. But it's not that frequent. The most of the cases are said, and it's important also for the way you sort of target the disease. It's caused by decompression. It's basically what happened is that the nerve and one of the vein or arteries that goes into the brain, they are on the same space basically. And what happened is that the artery, or again the vein, the vase, if you want, it start compressing. It dilates and it compresses the nerve. At this point, the nerve is, because it's compressed, it feels like there's something wrong, and it starts firing. The long-term compression, it causes also changes in the nerve that is unfortunately causing a long-term damage. Which is the reason why sometimes trigeminal neuralgia continues even after an operation is made to try to ameliorate or change this condition.
Okay, and how many people are affected by this?
Interestingly enough, the numbers are not they are not real in the sense that sometimes trigeminal neuralgia is misdiagnosed as an headache, but it is thought that about 1 in 15,000 people develop some sort of trigeminal neuralgia.
Okay,
and that is not as frequent as other disorder, but it's certainly frequent to have an impact on society.
Okay, and there is no current, well, what is the current treatment for these people?
Yeah, there are different, the treatments are varied. And again, there are drugs that are borrowed from other indications. One of the most used is, some of the most used are what are called gabapentinoids. They are molecules that are used for treating epilepsy. Other are antidepressant, different type of antidepressant. And again, you can see already when you have a drug that works for one reason, applying for another indication, it's open to you to two situations. One, unwanted effect, and the other one is the fact that it's not working as it's supposed to. And in this case, for some drug, is both of them effectively. In some cases, people have to continue to increase the dose in order to have a beneficial effect. And in a lot of cases, the initial beneficial effect then fades away, and the patient is still in distress, basically.
Okay. So the treatment that you're developing then is specifically to target this trigeminal neuralgia pain. So does the development of this program differ from program one in the sense that it's slightly different science to make it targeted to specifically, the cause that you're trying to address?
Yes. So of course, as we mentioned, whereas the program one was trying to focus in on one specific target, a receptor in this case, program two is what we probably will refer scientifically as multipharmacology, meaning it targets different component of our body, of our endocannabinoid system, as we mentioned in the first podcast. So because of this, I think we have a sort of a combined effect. In fact, we hope is going to be a synergy whereby targeting different areas, both at the central nervous system, the peripheral nervous system, and potentially also other cells of our body not linked to the nervous system per se. For example, CBD is known to have an anti-inflammatory effect. So there may be, although inflammation is not the cause of trigeminal neuralgia, inflammation on the nerve is certainly an important element. And you can actually see modification of the behavior of certain cells. They are in the central nervous system, but associated with the central nervous system, but not part of it, if you want. They are a cell of the immune system. And by basically targeting both, we think we can have a better beneficial effect. And you have two situations. The reason I say we was inhalation is that the trigeminal neuralgia is a sudden event. It comes out of nowhere. By going with inhalation, we accelerate the way the compounds or the drugs is basically taken by our body. So it goes straight into the blood system through the lung, and it bypasses the liver that is involved in the metabolism, or if you want, the destruction of the drugs when it go into your body. What happens is that basically, just to simplify it, normally if you take a drug by oral routes, it's absorbed, you go into the liver and then into the other organs. So a lot of it is, if you want, although it is an easy way to give a drug, it's eliminated immediately from the liver, so it doesn't reach where it's supposed to. By inhalation, instead, it goes in from the lung to the heart and then around the body already without going to the liver, and that is delivering the effect. And in this case, because you need to have a very sudden help, the pain is excruciating, and you need to get rid of it in seconds rather than minutes or hours. In this case, I think the inhalation would be beneficial. Yep.
Yeah. So the objective, the end goal, if you like, the big idea is to have a device that you're able to inhale this substance. That then, as soon as you feel the pain coming on, you can take that and it immediately suppresses it or numbs it.
Yes. In fact, if you want to go more technical, this is not just a combination of two drugs, it's a drug-device combination. Meaning you have the drugs, in this case THC and CBD, but also have a device. And the device, just to sort of describe it, it's like an asthma inhaler. Is referred as a PMDI, or pressurized meter dose inhaler. But what it is, it's literally it's a compressed drug that by just clicking on your device will create a spray, effectively, or an aerosol. Technically, it's called a plume that goes into your lung. This is important because obviously part of the development was to change the way the drug behaves in a way so that it could have the right characteristic when it's in this plume, in this aerosol, so that it goes into your lung rather than depositing in your mouth, and it stays in your lung rather than coming out when you breathe out. So this was all important during the development. I mean, I could go technically a bit more, but it's really fascinating. In this way, we optimize in a way that the patient should take it out really quickly, can carry everywhere because it's a small device. Just to give an idea, if you want a handle is about this size, you take in, you put in your mouth, you inhale once or twice. Obviously, we have to define what the dosage will be. Although we have pretty much a good idea, but we need to test it, and we are testing, of course. But another point, we should have a very quick onset of the benefit. It's interesting as well that the way we're going to design the inhaler is in a way affected by the patients, in this case, that we're going to treat. And by opening your mouth too much, you can actually trigger trigeminal neuralgia. And if you have it, it's difficult to open your mouth. So we will have to shape our device in a way that will fit better into basically a smaller device at the end of it. So that's what's called a mouthpiece. So we'll still deliver the component right away, but in a better fashion, a friendlier fashion for the patient.
Okay. So the company here is actually working on two things, not only the science, the chemical compound, but also you're actually getting into product development as well. Yeah. And is that something that the company is capable of doing, or would you look to outsource the kind of hardware design and development?
Yes. No, we outsourced that. We went for specialists. We work for every program that we have, we created, and I'm really happy, and if you allow me, proud of it. So we really create a good network of collaborators and support and people that knows their business. In this case, we're working side by side with two major companies. One is the manufacturer of the device itself, it's called H2 Presper, and the other one is Oz UK that is developing. The individual Oz UK have been involved in developing a layer for more than 20 years, I think actually 30 years, to be honest, starting from large pharma to small companies. They've been involved in studying most of the inhaler in one way or the other, directly or indirectly, that are on the market right now. So they have really great experience. They're supporting us very, very well. Their knowledge is incredible. And again, we in a way, as it happens, you go there with an idea that may be good or not. In our case, was good, fortunately, because they could actually take it and shape it and advise us what to do in the terms of the development of the device itself. And the science behind is incredible. The way you have to test how much compounds deliver every time you press or actuate the device, how it's going to go out, what are the size of the particles. So when you have an aerosol, you have basically small droplets, if you want to simplify it. And the size is important, as I mentioned, because as I mentioned, if they're too big, they stick in your mouth, on your tongue. If they're too small, they go in and out. So you need to go really in a very precise size particle range. And also then other aspects, if it's stable inside the device, how long can it last? How long does it last on the shelf at temperature that are normal or more or higher? And also, one thing is easy to say that you take the device, you press, and the drug come out, but the reality is, will it last all the time? So basically, until you finish your device. So that's also an important aspect, and we cover all that. And the speed with which we developed that was really incredible. And chapeau to Oz UK for supporting us, and it's Presper to provide the hardware and the know-how to support the development.
Okay, so just give us an idea then as where you are on the development timeline, both with the science and with the inhaler as well, and the key milestones that you're looking out for. I notice on your website that you do want to go for clinical trials phase 1, Q4 this year, actually. So now, where are we on the development timeline?
No, yeah, we slightly postponed that date for that's more for strategic reason than scientific reasons. The development is going very well. We adjust. So as for program 1, as we mentioned, there are different aspects of the development. You have the development from the manufacturing point of view, that we just touched upon it, the device and how the drug is put into the device itself, so the formulation. Then you have the safety aspect and efficacy aspect. For the efficacy aspect, we will do some sort of key experiment to sort of bring together the vast amount of literature that is out there, specifically with other API, or if you want, with the actual compound that we're using in this specific trial. It's more a confirmation of what is known already. In terms for the safety, that was, again, really, really important. And we start because unlike other drugs and route of administration, in this case, obviously, you need to show safety by using the route of administration, that is inhalation. So you actually have to use experiment with an animal that inhale the compound. So it's much more complicated than other type of development. But we are proceeding really well. We've done already toxicological studies on the short term. administration. We are doing for a longer term administration, and so far so good in the sense that the compound seems to be extremely well tolerated. We do see effect that we would expect, considering we're working with THC and CBD, but it's in the good side rather than the bad side, meaning we do prove that at the dose that we're using, we have an expected effect, but it's not limited us to go to the next dose, meaning does not have a sort of acute toxicity that one is looking for in the first place. Now, of course, we're going to look into more details and look actually at the fine aspects of the toxicity, looking actually at the single tissue, if you want, and see if there are changes that cannot be seen by naked eye, if you want, but can be seen only by microscopic analysis. But the work that we've done so far, again, is going in the right direction. So the development is going to, toxicology development is going to finish this year. We will have to look very carefully at the data, and that's going to go for next year. But at this point, we will be ready. We will have the result of the efficacy as well. And at this point, we will be ready to go into clinical trial. We were going into clinical trial by using a limited amount of data, so to speak, because the initial trial is relatively short-lived. But what we decided to do is to wait a bit, pause a second, and look at the longer potential toxicity effect, so that we wouldn't go into something without knowing exactly what was going to happen on longer-term effect. A phase 1 clinical trial that tells you a limited amount of data may affect then a failure later on, and that's why we want to have longer data in order to have better information.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Dr. Valentino Parravicini.
Thank you.
Chief Scientific Officer there at Oxford Cannabinoid Technology, talking to us about Programme 2. So I look forward to following the development of this programme as it goes down the development timeline.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programmes at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.